Even when I've left, I do right by you. I'll be your everything, your blue sky. I go to war, I'll fight. Damn right. Even when I've left, I do right by you. I'll be your everything, your blue sky.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to the Professional Stepdad Show. Man, my voice. I'm your host, Franco Zavala. Thank you very much for joining me. This is episode 84 on the road to 100 before the end of the year. If this is your first time here, welcome. We're so blessed and grateful to have you here, stepdad or stepmom, or any other individual that finds this podcast information useful. So again, welcome. If this is your 84th time here, welcome back. We're going to get into some fun stuff today. I'm going to be answering a few questions concerning goal setting and some of the books that I recommend, some of the daily activities that I recommend, kind of like a how-to to help kind of not unfuck your life or unfuck the situation, but to kind of just bring a little bit of structure, even if it's a little bit of structure, to 20 minutes of your day, right? Before I go any further, if you have not, please go on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, Anchor, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be. Website is live, theprofessionalstepdad.com. It is live now. Worked really hard on it, kept it simple. Hope you like it. But if you have not, please like, subscribe, share to all those platforms. I really highly appreciate it. And if you can, please leave a review, a comment. Good, bad, right, or wrong. It's all useful because it's all a learning experience, right? This is all still very new. So, goal setting. Importance of goal setting. Why is it so important to set goals? I don't know about you, but for me, when it came to goal setting and when it came to like that idea of goal setting, I always used to equate it to like being an entrepreneur or, building your own business. I never really thought how important it was, or I never even fathomed how important it was and how useful it is to set goals in your relationship, to set goals in your daily activities, to set goals with the kids, to set goals with your family, period, like everybody together. It is so incredibly important that it has now become a crucial part of the DNA of my family. And it goes all the way down to the bottom of the foundation, which is, the me, us, them method, what I always talk about. So what I'm going to go over today is I'm going to go over a few things that I do, a few books that I read, a few suggestions and websites and things that I recommend. And what I'm hoping today is that you find it useful, informative, and that you don't overwhelm yourself. So goal setting, you can easily overwhelm yourself because you set these huge goals. When I first started personal development and growth, I used to work for a gentleman by the name of Bob Proctor. I'll put him right here. He was in a movie called The Secret. Bob and I developed a great relationship. He taught me how to speak on stage. He taught me how to speak to individuals. But one of the main things that he always told me, two of the main things he always told me was, the first one was when you're on stage, always speak to the light, never the dark, meaning speak to the people that are listening. Very, very helpful information that's kind of guided me through this, even through my acting career, right? Speak to the light when you go into an audition, speak to the light. But always be you, always be true, always be yourself. And as an actor, when I first started at the age of 31, I did not do that. I tried to do and be what everybody else thought I should be. I have tattoos, as you can see, and I come from a Hispanic background, and I really used that against myself, right? I would talk myself out of like why I didn't get a role or why I didn't book a job. And it wasn't until the information, which is just be you, do you, set in, that I was able to kind of soar and take off in a very, very fast pace in the world of entertainment. So be yourself, right? Speak to the light. And number 2, you got to set goals, but don't set these huge goals that are like, I want to make $1 million a year. And I want to, my company's going to make $100 million by this date. I did that. And it looked good writing it. It sounded good when I said it out loud, but it just wasn't something that was going to be obtainable because you can't get to this huge astronomical goal until you learn to set daily goals, hourly goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, quarterly goals. You see where I'm going on this? So it's important that you understand that you have to start from somewhere. And starting from somewhere is simple. Has to do with health, with wealth, family, yourself. These 6 daily activities that you want to start setting for yourself will help you. You think about it as a compass for your day, right? And you always want to stay true north, being true to yourself. So set a compass for your day. So what I do, and I'm going to be grabbing a lot of stuff here today. What I like to do is I have these yellow pads here, right? And on the yellow pads, I write down my 6 daily commitments. Now, I call them commitments and not goals. So I know, yes, I said we're going to talk about goal setting, and this is about goal setting, but commitment and goals are 2 different things. When you set a goal, it's easy to break. When you commit to yourself, it's harder to break, right? So I call it the 6 daily commitments, things that I'm going to commit to myself. I always begin my day with personal growth, and that is a book that I read. And I give myself time to read, meaning this. So I went and bought this thing on TikTok. I'm going to show you guys. Check this out. This thing is called the clock. I can't remember what the name of it is. There was a name for it I saw. But this is just a little clock that you can set. And you see this? It actually tells you the amount of time that you have, and then it'll go off for you. I bought this because I found myself, okay, I'm going to read a book today. I'm going to read it for X amount of minutes, and then I would get stuck in the book, or you ever read a book and then you start to have ideas run through your head. So then you take out a piece of paper and then you start to go, and before you know it, it's been like 30 minutes to an hour and you've only gone like 15, maybe 10 pages in your book, and you really didn't get that far, but because your time management skills were off. So this clock helps me manage my time when it comes to my daily activities. So what I do is that I grab a book or whatever book that I'm reading, and trust me when I tell you this, just like when I repeat me, us, them, work on you first, work on your relationship, then work on the kids. As a stepdad, those are crucial things. Same thing goes for, and it's repetitive, right? Same thing goes for the books that I read. I have, I don't know, maybe 100 books in my office, and I've read all the books that deal with personal development, growth, building a business, religious books like Paulo Coelho's book to Chicken Soup for the Soul. I've read them all, and I continue to read them because you learn something new each time. You really do. I don't care how many times you read a book. You learn something new each time. So that's what I highly recommend. So you're going to set your 6 daily activities. First one going to be personal growth. What do you want to do for yourself today? Right? Work on yourself today. What can you do to work on yourself today? So the book that I'm reading right now is called How Successful People Think by John C. Maxwell. John Maxwell is an incredible speaker. He deals a lot with business and he deals a lot with faith. But again, what I try to take out of these books that I read is I try to take things that are going to benefit my life, my journey with my step kids and my blended family, and my overall ability to think my way out of negative situations and creatively come up with a game plan to put myself into a situation that will benefit not just me, but my family. So this is the book that I'm reading, John C. Maxwell's How Successful People Think. Now, the book that I read just before that is called Grit, the Power of Passion, right here, if you could see it. The author's name is Angela Duckworth. This is a great book. It deals a lot with like how we handle certain situations, what kind of the type of mentality that you have to begin to develop for yourself. That is a great book that I recommend. Now I'm going to go to I always recommend Gary Vee's books. Every single one of them I have on my bookshelf, all the way to Crush It. It's his books. He's got this book. Why can't I remember the name of the damn book? It's going to kill me, right? You have Crush It. And then you have, where is it at? I'm looking. I'll think of it in a minute. One of his books is literally an entire book of Q&A and examples of how people are dealing with themselves in business. And remember, you can extract that information and you can implement it into your daily activities in your family. Now, I'm going to go to my go-to book. So I don't know if you can tell, you probably may or may not be able to, but it's falling apart. This book is literally falling apart on me. This is how many times I've read this book. When I first met Bob Proctor, he told me I need to read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, this is a thick book. And let me just tell you, if you've never read it before, I don't care how many times you read it, you are going to find something new in it. I've probably read this book over 5,000, easy. And I have notes that is just littered with these in this book. Sticky notes up top. So if you decide to get Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, I recommend that you go to the chapter of persistence and give yourself 21 days. 21 days of reading the chapter of persistence. If you can do that, then you are on the road to success when it comes to staying committed to your daily routines and activities. And then what I also do is, so out of the next spots that are going to be on the list are just going to be the things that I need to accomplish through my day, for my day, that have an overall objective to where I'm trying to go with my business, with my family, with my health. So I don't try to bite off these huge chunks. I try to bite off baby chunks, baby bites. And because I've mapped out my year on what I have this vision of where I want to go, I can dissect it and reverse engineer it all the way back to my daily activities. And then I can ask myself, what I'm about to do today putting me on the path towards my overall objective and my goal? And if the answer is yes, I write it down and I just begin to work. Now, this is important. When you write down your 6 daily commitments, there will be times where you don't finish those commitments. There will be times where you don't get all the way through, and that's okay. Try to understand that this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And when it comes to bettering your mental health, when it comes to bettering your family, when it comes to laying down this foundation for your journey as a stepdad, you have to remember you need patience. Patience will be the defining characteristic, power word, however you want to name it, thing that separates the stepdads who make it and the stepdads who don't. Patience. You have to have patience. You have to set goals. So one of the things that my wife and I do, and this comes again in the me, us, them, so in the us part, one of the things that my wife and I do each year at the end of the year is we go get a hotel room, nothing fancy because we're not there for the amenities. We go get these big boards that you can get from Walgreens, these Post-it boards, and we sit down for the day and we write down goals that we want to accomplish individually first. We first take care of ourselves, right? That's important, okay? Mental health, you got to take care of yourself first. You cannot solve the problems of everybody in your life. You cannot be a decision maker in your family, stepdad, if you are having a hard time and you're struggling with how you fucking decide. You're second guessing yourself because you're not confident enough, and you're not confident enough because you don't know who you are, and you don't know who you are because you haven't done the work, and because of all that, nothing's really working and going the way you want it to go. So you need to start with yourself first. So what we do is we sit down and we set these goals for ourselves. What do we want to do? Big things, big accomplishments. I mean, there is no rules to these, right? You can write down as many things as you want. Be creative and descriptive as you want. Then what we do is, and again, we set a timer, right? Then what we do after about an hour is we sit down and we say, okay, what do we want to do for each other? Let's set goals in our life, for our marriage, for our friendship, right? Too many people in relationships, especially blended families, because we are so caught up in trying to please everyone and trying to look for the gratitude and satisfaction from everybody, like, please pay attention to me and respect me and value me, that we forget that our relationship is a core, and it's a core part of the success that we'll have in our journey. So we sit down and we write down these goals for each other and how we want to be better in our relationship, and how we want to be better as parents, how we want to be better as lovers, how we want to be better at communicating and listening. And then when we're done and we've completely finished this list, we each share with each other what our personal goals are, and then we pick out the top 3 things, the 3 things that really grab us, right? And we put it on this Post-it card, and it's in big letters, it's in huge letters, and at the bottom that we write an X and a line, and we sign it, and then my wife, she signs it as well. And then vice versa, I do the same for her. And the reason we do this for each other first, right? We write down these things, is now we have somebody in our lives, especially our partners, that can hold us accountable and responsible for accomplishing these goals. Because we do check-ins, like, hey, how's everything going with, your goal 1? How's it looking? Anything I can do? How can I help? Things like that. And then we do the same exact thing for our relationship and our parenting. Write down the top 3 things we want to do, from financials to spirituals to just parenting overall to being better people. We write down, between 3 and 4 of those, and we write down the ones that just, jump off the page We each sign it and we hold ourselves accountable. Now, it's important to remember this. We hang this on the walls, and we hang it on the walls in a place that we can see. And it's a daily reminder like, hey, we committed to doing this, and let's stay on track. And when we find ourselves coming off track, or we find ourselves not doing what we want to be doing, it's called accountability check-in. It's time to check in. There's nothing wrong with checking in with your partner. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, you see them more than anyone else. Why not make them your accountability partner, right? And then once we have that parenting, then you'll notice that I don't say anything about the kids and what I want to do with the kids and how I want to do with the kids, because guess what? If I'm bettering myself, my mental health, if I'm strengthening my relationship, how we, not I, how we handle the kids will be in a synchronized team throughout the year. Does that make sense? I'm not worried about the kids. I'm worried about this first. The kids stuff it's a revolving door. They grow, they change, their love languages change. You have to make sure your mental health and your relationship with your partner is on point. If you want to be, if you want to be prepared to handle these crazy, fucked up situations that will come your way. Okay? So these are just the things that I do. From the daily commitments, or you can put it in your phone in your notes, the 6 daily commitments, the books that you read, the timer that you have, the old school books that you can always refer to, and have a notebook. Have a notebook ready. In this book specifically right here, I have my 90, my 60, and my 30-day goals that I want. So I set it's a 3-month goals when I had this new idea, but I knew having an idea means fucking nothing unless you can execute that idea. And executing an idea and having an idea also means shit if you don't have the mental capacity to take step one. And that goes for your parenting, that goes for your relationships, that goes for how you're handling any given situation in any step parent journey that you're in. Here's what you have to remember. No matter what journey that you're in as a step parent, I don't care what walk of life you're from. I don't care how many kids you have. I don't care how fucked up the situation is. When you dissect it and you break it down all the way to its core, we're all the same here. We're all going through the same process. We're all dealing with the same people. I had an individual yell at me, and when I say yell at me, it's large texts through Instagram message, because they found out that I'm talking about this journey that I'm on, but bio dad's not in the picture because he passed away. And it's very easy to dismiss that it's easier for me because bio dad's not in the picture, so there's no negative man trying to undermine what I say, or there's no other man in my picture that I've got to share the spotlight with, whatever. But what you have to remember is that, again, everybody's journey is different, but we all, when it's broken down to its core, it's the same. Bio dad in my given situation was replaced with brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and neighbors and friends and family and every other possible thing you can do. Imagine being in a situation where bio dad's coming at you every day talking negative about you to the kids and whatever it may be. Now, I want you to imagine that in any given household that your kids go to when it comes to your family members, and they're all doing that exact same thing. That's what I had to deal with. So each one of us go through different phases of our journey, but when you dissect it, we're all going through the same stuff. And you have to remember that step one is fucking, who gives a shit what they think, what they say? Control the 4 walls of your house. Don't allow negativity in. Lay that new foundation. Build up yourself, work on your mental health, work on your partnership and your relationship, work on being better parents and better fucking people, period. And then work, learning how to communicate with the kids and understand that the payoffs are not going to come when you want them. So patience is fucking key. It just is. So that's today's episode, guys. The 6 daily activities, some of the books that I read. Again, Gary Vee. I still can't remember the damn book. It's literally on its side, but I don't want to. It's called Ask Gary Vee. It's a great book. Ask Gary Vee. This book is about how individuals are going through parts of life, and he just Q&A, and I love it. And it's a great. You'll get a lot out of it. But if you really want to start somewhere, Think and Grow Rich. I think it's chapter 6 or 7 of persistence. And let me see here. I mean, this book is just so great. Chapter 6 or 7 of persistence. Read it for 21 straight days and see if you can. No excuses. there are no, like, oh, I can do it tomorrow. It has to be 21 straight days, straight. No days off, no weekends, no holidays, no birthdays, 21 straight days. All right, guys, that is episode 84 of the Professional Stepdad Show. Once again, the website is live, professionalstepdad.com. Please go check it out. Follow all the social media platforms. Like, subscribe, share, iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, the website, Anchor, YouTube, and any other platform that I can put myself on, because my objective is to grow this platform so I can positively affect real change and change the narrative about what it means to be not only a stepdad, but a step-parent. Have a great day, everyone.
Damn right. Even when I've left, I do right by you. I'll be your everything.
Quiet on the set, please. Thank you, everybody.